Okay, so Lisa, can you tell us basically where you are at the moment, your full name, and what your clinic is called?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Lisa from Graceful Aesthetics and Wellbeing. I've had my aesthetic clinic for about 3 years, and I'm based in Poulton-le-Fylde. I still work within the NHS. I'm part-time, so I do both. I've got the best of both worlds, which has been really good that I've been able to help in the NHS through this COVID-19 situation. Where I am with FILLMED, well, basically I have a little bit of a different story to most people, in that when I first met Rebecca had only just started with FILLMED, so it was right in the early days, and I'd only just started to do dermal filler and Botox, so I was only trained in the basic procedures, and I was mainly doing just Botox, and I was having lots of ladies coming to me with very photo damaged skin, pigmentation, all the usual skin conditions we see in clinic. And I was doing the treatments and we were getting lovely results, but I was looking at them and thinking, this doesn't feel right, because I'm taking the money and okay, I'm stopping their muscles from moving so they've got a more youthful look, but the skin quality was still the same. And it was just something I really wanted to explore. And so I was really lucky to be invited to a conference in Blackpool. And I think it was one of the first ones Rebecca did, where I was introduced to FILLMED. I was very junior on that course, and everybody else had lots of skills. And so I'd never used a cannula. I'd never done cheeks. I'd only done the basic things like nasolabial folds. And as we were learning about the protocols and we were watching the videos and discussing the concept behind FILLMED, it just a light bulb moment went on for me and thought, gosh, this is what I've been looking for, because we're going to be doing treatments which are going to, yes, they're going to give a little bit of volume to the areas which have lost the volume, but the main thing is we're actually going to improve the skin quality and the integrity of the skin by actually working within, which will then have this amazing glow and improve the without on the outside. So I started doing filler in a very different way to most people. FILLMED trained me in the cannula. Somebody came to my house and did that because I was so keen to do these protocols, because it was exactly the way I felt you should target aging. So I did the cannula training, started doing the bioneutral, which was just transforming my patient's skin. I then did the peel training probably only about a month later. So I was then performing peels before my injectables, during during other visits when they came, I was doing the peels, and I also developed some quite unique protocols of my own, where I was actually doing the bioneutral glow that Dr. Philippe has just released, going back probably about 18 months ago. And I found that as my journey with FILLMED progressed and then became bigger in this country, I was invited to all their training, which was so affordable. And they supported me in clinic. They sent a trainer to my clinic so that I had that support. And I was starting to implement their other protocols like the 2.4 full face. And I found that I was developing my skills as an injector, but more importantly, I was improving people's skin so dramatically by using like the NCTF by cannula through the bioneutral lift, that when I'd gone on that journey with these patients to change the skin, when we then came to look at the volume loss, which is right at the end of my protocols, I needed hardly any filler because the skin integrity was so good. Now, the other thing with FILLMED is their philosophy is amazing, because they believe that you should put minimal amounts of filler in. You should look at light and shadows and beautification. So all their protocols are using only maybe 2 or 3 syringes of filler to have a full face transformation. And that's because, again, they're looking at, first of all, prepping the skin from within with bioneutral. So my ladies have had dramatic results, like taking 10 years off them with actually very little outlay. Because again, FILLMED's philosophy is nobody can actually afford to keep up this protocol of some of the other big filler companies where they're putting maybe 7-8 syringes in. It's just not doable to your average person. So I feel that FILLMED in my clinic has made a huge impact on my ladies and gents, but also at an affordable price. And the support they give you is phenomenal. Like, I've been over to Paris to see to IMCAS to see their top trainers working. It's just been absolutely amazing. And it's the main brand I started with and the main brand I still use. And anybody who will listen, I shout it from the rooftops, because the philosophy is just the 360 degrees, which is, I think it's the way that people are going, because people don't want that false look. They want it to be very natural. We are supposed to age and we've got to embrace it. And by using their protocols, you're doing it in such a way that is so natural, but with a huge impact. They're just phenomenal.
That's amazing. Do you feel as though there was a educational challenge when you wanted to start really looking after clients' skin health before injectables? Was that a challenge to say, look, I wanted to go down this process first? Was that a challenge for you, or did clients get it straight away?
No, I think they got it straight away, and the reason being is that I think if I'd have tried to implement that philosophy into my clinic without meeting Rebecca and starting my FILLMED journey, I think it would have been a challenge. But because FILLMED educate you so well, and their protocols is all about skin health and skin integrity, and we've got to feed the skin from within as well as look at the surface of the skin. The two go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. So because their training is all geared around that, then I found it quite easily to talk to my clients and explain this journey, because when you've got the products there, you've got the research, you've got the resources, and I was so passionate because of the way they taught it and the results they were getting, that they could see my enthusiasm, and I was able to show them the protocols, the clinical research, because it's all based on clinical research. This company's been going for 40 years, and like the NCTF has never altered because they got it right from day one. So really, it kind of sold itself. And I was very lucky in that one of my very first clients who came for me just for Botox had severe photo damaged skin and a very heavy smoker. And within a short space of time, I literally took 10 years off her, and she's let me use those pictures in clinic. So the results spoke for themselves. So from an education point of view, it wasn't difficult, but also I was able to explain it in a way that my clients understood, because FILLMED educated me. Even though I had that initial passion, they actually gave me the knowledge to be able to then relay that to my patients.
That's great. Do you feel as though FILLMED give you enough resources to educate your clients, or is that something where we can improve? Would you like to see more resources so we can educate your clients in the journey?
Yeah, I think that they are the most supportive company I've come across in the aesthetics industry to start with. But I think what's really come to light during this lockdown is that every single company has been doing webinars. But the difference with FILLMED is they actually introduced a webinar where we could invite our clients, our patients, to come and watch. And instead of me trying to educate them and feel like they're being sold to, was to listen to FILLMED and have the importance of good skincare and the aging process explained to them by somebody else. And all my patients who attended that are absolutely raving about it. They can't believe how much they learnt, how much they said, you've been banging on about this, but we've heard it from a different side, so we're definitely going to be looking into this. And I think that's something that FILLMED, again, it's quite unique to them. They really need to build upon, because honestly, it was just amazing the feedback I got. And if we can do more of that, so it's not just somebody who you go and see in clinic who you feel is just selling to you, because they weren't trying to sell them anything. It was about education. It was about understanding that aging process and what we can do to give it its helping hand so we can be the best version of ourselves.
Yeah, it's something that, you know, as a team that we've been talking about doing more of, because we've got so much confidence in the actual product itself that all we have to do is educate about the skin, and then the sort of products sell themselves. And if we can take that to your clients, then that is great, and something that I know Rebecca's looking at closely about how we can do more of that. Is there anything else that, sorry, you're going to say something, Lisa?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and also obviously through lockdown, you developed the online consultation, where we can do the online consultation. We have the paperwork in front of us that we can fill in as we're doing it, send it electronically to our patients with their prescription, and then send the products direct to them. Again, there's not many companies who develop that so quickly. So now, since my patients have attended that webinar, it's gone crazy, and I'm able to do that face to face on like a WhatsApp call on my phone whilst having my iPad open, and I can just do it online. And it's helped keep my business going. But more importantly, you know, because FILLMED have educated my patients, they do realise now the importance of skincare and how it will enhance the in-clinic treatment. So they're all so keen to get on their skincare now, ready for going back in July, so they're going to get a better result. So yeah, it's all really good.
Amazing. Finally, well, thank you so much for supporting FILLMED. You know, we talk about you often. You know, you're just a great ambassador for us, and we really, really appreciate that. But part of us talking to our ambassadors at this stage, after, you know, being communicating quite a lot during this lockdown period, you know, 8-9 weeks of webinars, is to find out, you know, is there any other areas where you think we could improve, where we could serve you better? Because ultimately, that's what we want to be doing.
Oh, I've not really thought about that question. I think for me, possibly, it's more about, I've seen some really, when I went over to INCAS and I saw some of the new protocols being implemented, like the BioNutra Full Face, about maybe having some of those courses run more locally so we can actually go and practice those protocols. I've seen how they do it, I've got all the information, but as a practitioner, I don't feel confident enough just to go out there and do it. I always like to go on a training course. So about maybe having some more training courses locally so we can follow all the protocols which we know are out there, but they've not really been on offer. Oh, that wasn't really, not really quite sure.
No, I think it's great, and I know that's something that we you know, working on. Rebecca's expanded the team in February, so I think it's something that we are working on to improve our infrastructure and widen the infrastructure so we can do more trainings, as you say, locally. So you can, you know, the right practice can be in place. So
actually, yeah. So I think as well, the other thing what they could do is FILLMED is so versatile. There's so many different modalities you can combine. So when I was talking about skin quality, I use the resurfacing treatments, microneedling, the NCTF, and I can treat the whole face using just FILLMED. So it's about maybe looking at some protocols which give clinicians a much clearer pathway on how to do that. I know we have some amazing things, but sometimes people are a little reluctant to think outside the box because obviously as nurses and medics, we're always very protecting our pin. I've been a little bit inventive with the FILLMED products, and I have actually done that. And I think if we had a session where we actually, at the end of a training course, or it was kind of like timetabled in, where people can maybe talk about how they use the products, because that's how you learn from each other, a bit like networking. So like I was saying, way before Dr. Philippe brought out the BioNutra Glow, I was doing a resurfacing treatment. I was then neutralizing it. I was then putting the NCTF on. I use a device with like a stamp, which I put the NCTF, and depending, I might mix MHA 10 in, and I was using that all over the face and the neck. And then before the NanoSoft came out, I was doing around the eyes and papules and the neck. So, you know, I think it's a case of having those resources where somebody can go to and say, actually, what else can we do? Maybe looking at bring in people's ideas and how they've used it to kind of develop the protocols a little bit more.
That's amazing. And Rebecca, listening to this, will be in the kitchen with a big mind map now, and we should be scribbling away like crazy. So, and her next call will be to people like Andrew and Dr. Philippe. Lisa, thank you so much. Thank you for your, again, thank you for your support. Thank you for your
welcome.
And contributing to this webinar. It's brilliant. Thank you, Lisa.
That's okay. And I'll just say, Jason, I've done my very first video on Facebook the other day about the products Rebecca sent me. It was awful, but I did it.
It wasn't awful. I saw it and I liked it, and it was fantastic. So well done.
Well, I'm on it. I've done one now, so I've got to do some more.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.